Okay, so here we are again with one of the things that I think is most important. It is the most important. I say that a lot, but this is very important. If you're going to be able to accomplish the goals that we set forward here, what I like to call is the magic bullet. How I found the magic bullet was because everybody seemed to have at least one magic bullet in their gun, but me. And I started figuring out as you go on so many listing appointments, and you start going, why did I lose that to that agent? You ever lost a listing? If you've ever lost a listing to an agent that you know that you're a better real estate agent, not just a better marketer, but a better real estate agent altogether, and you lost, and you're like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you list with them over us, over me, whatever? So I used to ask that question, and I would call and find out. And it was real simple. There was only one reason, and it kept reoccurring over and over and over, why people weren't listing with me better. Everything was better. Everything we did, we showed them how they make more money. They loved what we had to say. Everything made sense, but they still listed with someone else. And I could not figure out for the life of me why that was. And it was because of the magic bullet. And the magic bullet is simply one thing. It's rapport. Okay? It's very, very important. A lot of things that I'm showing you, a lot of things that we do, it really centers around understanding sales and understanding how to communicate and things of that nature. But really one thing that you can't skip, because I tried it, and not on purpose. It wasn't like I didn't want to build rapport. I didn't want to be friends with them or didn't want to get close to them. It's just that, when you're going on a lot of appointments, you tend to sometimes skip a step, or you're behind, or you just didn't quite take the time to listen, whatever the case may be. This was the reason that I would lose. It was the only reason that I would lose. They would say, we think that we basically know that it was going to cost us, but we just felt more comfortable with the other agent. And that was what I would find out from my clients. No, or actually, they weren't my clients. It really made me sick to my stomach because I knew I could do a better job for them. I knew I could. I knew the outcome would have been better had they listed with me, yet they chose someone else. So this was how we fixed that. When we fix this, everything else falls in place. You can do a really bad job on the rest of it if you do a good job with this part. Okay, so rapport is extremely important. So some of the questions that you want to ask in terms of building rapport, and this is key, is what do they love about their home? What improvements have they made, and why did they buy the home? Okay. Now, I've seen this before, and I actually had it on my questionnaire beforehand. These are questions that you always ask a seller, but I didn't know why you asked the question. And there's a real big why. The why you ask this question is because you're going to use this during your walkthrough. Okay. Very, very strategic what I'm about to tell you. What do you love about your home? The seller is going to tell you all the things they love about their home. And let me tell you something. If you think selling a home is not emotional, you're wrong. It is. They are very emotional about this decision to sell their home in most cases. That being said, what they love about their home, that's a very serious emotion. We want to know what that is and what things they love about their home. And you want to take note of that because we're going to talk about that when we get to the house. We're going to build some serious rapport real quick with them. What improvements have they made? If they felt like it needed to be made, or they spent the money on it, or whether it could have caused a hardship that month that they spent the money on this particular item, or it could have been something they really enjoyed, or whatever the case may be, if they've done improvements and they tell you about them, that means there was some significance to that. So we want to make a note of that. Why did they buy the home in the first place? Maybe the school system, it may be whatever it is that they tell you, their neighbors down the road, or their neighbors are great, or this neighborhood is just wonderful, or the park's close by, or it's close to shopping, whatever it is, the reasons that they bought are emotional reasons. People buy on emotion, so we want to make sure that we know what those emotional reasons were that they bought so we can connect with them on that level. Okay, so we want to connect with them on that level. So the next thing we're going to do is we've already talked about at the meeting. So once you get there, we're at the property. We're going to do both of the E's. We're going to find out who makes decisions. And we're going to kind of revisit what you learned by asking questions. So when we get there, there's three basic things that we're going to try to do. while we're doing the walkthrough. So when I get to the property, let me tell you something. I'm always enthusiastic. I'm always excited. Okay, I'm always on that level. You always got to get yourself into. Tony Robbins calls it state. You got to be at that high level. You got to be confident. Be at that level when you get to the property. That's important. It's very important. People feed off of your emotion. You don't want to be overbearing. If they're way reserved, you may want to take it back a little bit. I have to do that from time to time. You want to kind of read when they answer the door and you shake their hand, and if they're right up in they're okay with your enthusiasm, you keep going with it and you roll with it. If they're like looking at you like this, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this guy? Then you're going to want to take it back a little bit, stay out of their space, and pay attention to the handshake, pay attention to the eye contact, pay attention to what they're saying non-verbally to you, okay? That sounds really not cool, but it's not. It's very important. It's very, very important stuff. So it doesn't sound like it makes a big difference. Let me tell you, it makes all the difference, okay? That's how I used to lose a lot of listings, is not paying attention to this stuff. So find out who makes the decisions next, right? So when I walk in the door, I say, hey, I shake both their hands. Hi, I'm Jake Hendricks. Nice to meet you, Mary. Nice to meet you, Bob. And I say, hey, who wants to give me the grand tour? And immediately the boss either takes you down and starts showing the house, or the boss tells the other spouse to go show you the house, right? So real quick, you find out who the boss is. The boss, if there's two people, if it's not two people, that's fine. But if there's two people, one of them is going to clearly be the boss. And you'll find out by asking that question. So once you know who the decision maker is, you're going to start befriending them as much as you possibly can, paying closer attention to things that are going to be decision making items for them, okay? So the thing now, what we're going to do is we really only have one thing to go back on. Revisit what you already know, okay? You know what they love, you know where they spent money on the home, and you know why they bought it. So when you're going through the house and they tell you that they painted the cabinets yellow, and you're looking at the cabinets going, oh God, they have got to paint the cabinets. They're not going to sell if they're yellow. You're gonna shut up and love yellow cabinets just for a little bit, okay? You're not gonna be deceiving or anything, or lie to them or anything about it, but you're not gonna talk about it yet. You still are not their best friend. Your goal is to connect and be their best friend. That's your only goal. I will never sit down with the seller at the table until I've connected and become their best friend. Once we're congruent, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about the market, and then I'm gonna show them how I'm the expert and why they're gonna pay me and why they're gonna hire me. But what I want to do first is get congruent. Just find out what's when we walk through the house, we're going to be looking for some things. We're not just talking about, oh, those cabinets, you painted those? Wow, man, you did a great job. I love yellow cabinets. Now, later on in the presentation, I'm going to tell them why they're going to paint the yellow cabinets, because market research says that you don't want yellow cabinets. But I can love yellow cabinets, okay? So you want to make sure that's a clear distinction in your mind. You know to do that. So love everything about the house. Even if you hate it, doesn't matter. You have to love it until you're connected with them. Friendship supersedes everything. I mean, that's the one thing that will supersede everything else that I've done in my business, is that someone may like someone better or feel more comfortable with them. Those are all things that revolve around friendship. So that's pretty much that. The last thing that you're going to do while you're walking through the property, matching and mirroring, you're looking for things. If you see a Muhammad Ali boxing glove or an Oklahoma Sooner, when I pull into the house and it's got an OU mailbox, okay? If they got Oklahoma Sooner mailbox, I know how to get rapport with one of them for sure. We're going to talk some OU sports or OU whatever. So that's how you get congruent with them, is pay attention. They got a Harley in the garage. I pull up and I see in the garage there's a Harley. If you walk in and they've got family pictures all over all the walls, family's important to them. So pay attention to what you're seeing, and pay attention to their personality and start building rapport by asking more questions. If you don't feel like you connected and they're laughing and smiling with you and they're enthusiastic with you and you haven't brought them into your world of excitement and level of enthusiasm, if you haven't got them to feel you, so to speak, then what you have to do is you have to keep walking around asking questions. Sounds goofy, I know it does, it sounds crazy, but you cannot get to the business part until you pass the friend test. If you don't pass the friend test, you're probably not going to pass the business test, okay? So that's a real important distinction. And I've walked around for 30 minutes with people going, my goodness, do I have anything in common with these people that I can get on common ground with so that they'll feel comfortable with me, because I'm overbearing at times, okay? I am. That's just the way I'm wired, I guess. So when it comes down to it, that's real important, and you always win the listing when you're congruent with people. It seems like, I got that listing, we got along real well. That never seems to surprise us. But what we don't do is we don't focus on making sure that we do get congruent with people that may be on this different level than you and maybe on this different level than you. So you got to learn how to match and mirror and be just like them. As people do business with people that they like. People do business that are people like themselves, okay? Name your top 3 friends that you have. Who are your 3 friends? Name them in your head. Who is it? Number 1, your best friend, your second best friend, third best friend. Are they like you? Are they a lot like you? Probably so, right? Name your 3 biggest enemies, people you don't like. Number 1, who do you not like in your head? If your head is telling you, you're probably not like that person. Would you agree? So those are the distinctions that you want to make. And this is the magic bullet. This is what I used to lose a lot of listings on. Now that I focus on and I make sure that I do every single time. And it's a big piece of the puzzle. So hopefully this was helpful. And you'll be able to get a whole bunch more listings once you master that. So that's it. Rapport, the magic bullet.